I'm new to it. There we go. I think we're live now. Very good. Let's see here. Should be on the thingy. It says live. It says live. Very good. There we are. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. This is embarrassing. All right, here we go. Ha! What's up, guys? Sundance 270. How are you all doing today? I am fine. Here with me today is the inimitable, ever so awful, wonderful HALEE RAFF from Hard Bitten. HALEE, how you doing?
I am well. How are you doing?
I'm here. It's another day above ground. So kind of the one thing I wanted to do with kind of in this whole chili community world is obviously do my challenges and everything, but also because I love and support the community at large and everything that we do. One of the things I think the unsung heroes in our community are the challenge producers, the growers who make they grow the peppers and everything that we all get together. It's those people like challenge heads like myself. We're seeing we do the thing, but it's people like you behind the scenes creating these products that really help float, carry, support, just enable what we do. So I kind of want to get your side of the story on everything, because I remember when I saw Uncle Bull Cow do the HELLTART, and I'm like, what is this thing, this HELLTART? It looks interesting, it looks delicious. Where does it come from? Never heard of this. And he got it from Brian Ames. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
I think those are the only like 2 videos that I had seen, and it looked like such a weird, fantastic challenge pop up. I'm like, I have to get my hands on this. And one thing led to another, and that's how we discovered you. And so, real quick, can you give me something of a quick summary backstory on how you got into the culinary world, how you got started into being the chef extraordinaire that you are? And I will give you the floor.
That is so many compliments. Thank you. I appreciate that. Although I don't really agree with it, but that was very sweet. I will give a bit of a background on myself. So I am a seasoned chef, and I've had a very long journey in the culinary world. I completed culinary school. I went to Johnson & Wales, and I went back home to Chicago and started working, in Michelin fine dining restaurants. And I did that for a little over 5 years. I became a sous chef at 25 at a 1-star. But despite facing a lot of challenges like sexual harassment and burnout, I thrived in the fast-paced environment. Like, I loved the intensity. I loved how strict everything was. I loved everything about working in those kitchens. I did leave fine dining due to its demanding nature and lack of work-life balance, which I'm sure everyone can understand. I was working 90 plus hours a week. I was getting paid like shit, and of course treated like shit. I took an executive chef position role because of the easier hours, and I did face similar issues there, considering the higher ups wouldn't make eye contact with me ever.
Right.
And they would talk to my co-chef as well, because he was a man, instead of directing to me. So during the pandemic, I started making pastas and selling them from home. I didn't have any social media following. It was just word of mouth and selling pasta. And this really led to Hard Bitten and what it was. I expanded my offerings to like weekly dinners and cakes and pastries and Pop-Tarts, of course. And I competed in a cake competition and won first place. I've never done cakes before. I was doing them for like 6 months at the time. I was featured in various publications. I've been on the news. I've been in articles. It was very overwhelming, and it was all very quick. I was very excited for all of the attention that I was getting, but it was very quick. And then despite offers from others, I remain committed to building Hard Bitten independently without any help. I've had a lot of people come to me and tell me they saw that things are going really well and they wanted a piece of it. So they would like offer me something and be like, well, I want a percentage of this because, it's going really well.
Right.
And, I burned a lot of bridges because no. But throughout my journey, I've been fortunate to have very few supportive mentors, including John Mannion, who opened his kitchen for me in West Loop in Chicago and let me work out of his space for a while. I was very hesitant about opening my own space in my own bakery because I wasn't sure that hard bitten was going to be successful. So if it just one day wasn't going to go well, I could just turn it off. But I ended up getting my own kitchen, my own staff, my own appliances. It was scary. It was a lot. I've never done this before. I've never opened a business, so it was a lot. But I built a culinary empire from scratch, and that was a full service catering, private chef, wholesale bakery, and a cake studio. But what I'm most proud of is of what I've done is I've served as a sanctuary for burnout cooks and a launch pad for newcomers. I had a lot of people who were very just tired of being in the industry and people who really wanted to try something new. And I created a whole environment so people can come work for me and learn. And it was really cool. And I was always staffed up. I never not had cooks. But even though we were booked months in advance for cakes and catering, the Pop-Tarts were the steady stream.
Right.
Sustained hard-bitten, which was amazing.
Yes, they were amazing Pop-Tarts. That was one of the things I did like when you sent out the HELLTART. You also sent your regular tarts, and they were chef's kiss. Fun. They were amazing. So you're running Hard Bitten. You have this full-scale business operation, and somehow in the middle of it, you've discovered spicy challenges and wanted to throw your hat into the ring. Could you explain yourself?
Yeah. So I think that you summarized it very quickly, but my journey into becoming into that world was a lot slower than that. I actually drew inspiration from, Philadelphia cream cheese. They came out with like a spicy cream cheese.
Did they?
I don't know. They did. And
wow.
they were giving it to people online to eat it and try it. And it wasn't like a challenge. It was just a spicy cream cheese. And I was like, wait a minute, if they can do a cream cheese, why can't I do a Pop-Tart? I don't know. It just clicked to me. Honestly, I was like, why can't I do that? I don't know. But I did a lot of rigorous trial and error.
Right.
I mean, a lot. I sourced a variety of chili peppers from H Mart, and I did a shit ton of research online about spicy things in general. Right. And I got a bunch of things shipped to me to try. I'm not a big spicy person. I grew up thinking mustard was spicy. So I would try the base. The base was, so I wanted it to taste good. That was number one. Yeah. So the base was strawberry. Strawberry plus chili peppers plus more chili. Right. So it was, I gave a lot of them away to friends to try. Right. And it took a very long time. Like, it wasn't like, oh, wow, this is spicy, let's go. Like, I'd say it took me over a year before I was able to get it to the point of like painful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had HELLTARTs, I'd say within the first 6 months of launching the tarts. And then I'd say it took a whole year after that where I was like, they're finally at a point where I think I can like sell these. And I did not know that there was a whole spice community. I didn't know anything about this at all. But it was something I just wanted to try and see if it could go. I don't know. I just wanted to give it a shot, but it was the first product that I made that could actually ship nationwide. Oh yeah. Wow. I mean, I tried other things, but this was like the first one, but, I'm sure you knew what was going on because I was very open about telling you what was going on. But, within the first few weeks of launching that HELLTART, I had a few customers express like frustration with the shipping, which I get, like, but one individual's aggressive threats stood out. Right. I remained unfazed, recognizing the passionate yet intense nature of the spicy food community. The experience taught me a lot of valuable lessons, but about resilience and customer expectations. I remember I was communicating with you about it and I was like, wow, this is like really serious stuff. Like, yeah, but I'm glad that there are things that people are really passionate about out there. And just like that guy being as passionate and as weird as it was for him,
Right.
you know.
So with HELLTART, I know when the first ones kind of like hit our scene, uh, people expressed they could be hotter, and you made them hotter.
Hmm.
So could you explain the other thing was, and if anybody's had the HELLTART, you'll know what Haley was talking about. The flavor was paramount. You somehow managed to kick up the heat without sacrificing the flavor, which almost seems like counterproductive because you did kick up that heat. Now, there was one accusation that maybe you were using extract, which you had no idea even existed, if I remember correctly. Um, in did you find there was any issue upping the heat without sacrificing flavor, or were you compensating for that in any way, or anything like that?
Actually, I can tell you exactly what I did. I took the filling
Mhm.
and so just this is a cooking method. You take this much of filling and you reduce it by this much.
Right.
You just cook it longer.
Oh,
That's all I did.
just cooked it longer. That's it.
Yeah. So, you have this much base
Hmm.
and you cook it for, I don't know, I probably had it on the heat for 3 hours. It went from this much to being this much. So I just
Right.
condensed the flavor. That's all I did.
Oh, okay. Very good. Um, how long would it take to like make an actual hell tart, start to finish? Your average like that kind of
Like
deal.
with the filling.
Yeah, with the feeling, all of that, because that's another thing I want people to like understand is like how much handcrafted love and terror went into this thing.
Um, so the filling took, so I would get 3 to 6, depending on how many Hell Tarts we had coming in. I would get 3 to 6 flats of strawberries in, and of course we got to clean them,
Hmm.
cut the tops off, and then the chilies. I would just buy out whatever H Mart had on the shelves, and that could be, I don't know, 30 to 50 packages, and then you'd have to clean all the tops off of those.
Hmm.
And if anything, I think my cooks suffered the most because I'll tell you why. We got everything in the pan, and the way that I cooked everything, just like any jam, you put everything in the pot with sugar
Hmm.
and you let it cook. And the fumes from the chilies were just filling the kitchen. And I could only have so many fans on and the hood on for so much, but all of the cooks were just like coughing and like nobody's eyes were burning, but it took a long time. I would say it took, depending on how big the pots were. I tried not to make it all of the time. It was just like maybe once every 2 months because it would freeze really well. Just like we made all of our other fillings, we would make large batches. So the filling could take anywhere between 6 to 8 hours just cooking because there's so much water and strawberries.
Hmm.
And then the tart dough, which is what we are most proud of because the tarts are what sustained Hardvitten and did incredible things all over Chicago. The tart dough takes 2 days to make.
Oh,
We
wow.
make it one day and then it needs to set overnight.
Hmm.
Um, and then they bake, and well, we build them, of course. And my cooks worked, I don't know, 6 to 7 hours a day. So some of them it took to fill a tray. We could put 17 on a tray, and it could take them 12 minutes to build a tray, bake it. I don't know, let's say 15 minutes to bake, and then we need it to cool down before we frost. And then we frost them, and the frosting takes 24 hours to harden.
Right.
And then shipping.
That was a lot of labor and love that went into these pieces of destruction.
Yeah.
And I want to just commend you for that because I don't know about the process for a lot of other challenges. Some are just basically very simple, where it's
Yeah.
just a base like product thing like a corn nug, and then they just powder the crap out of it.
Right.
These things were just so and formidable challenges. No, yes, yay. But HELLTART was just it's one of the ones that stood out to me because there was so much that went into it, and also coming from somebody so negative such as yourself, and I love that aspect to the whole the brand and everything that you had going on with it.
Yeah.
How did you get hooked up with League of Fire? How did you find out about that?
Someone sent them my information and they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we see what you're doing. Do you want to be a part of this?" And I was
Oh yeah,
like, "Sure."
very cool, very cool. It definitely started off. A lot of people ended up trying it. Some people didn't get to, and I hate it for them. But the other thing is like they also dodged a bullet. If you've not had a HELLTART, It was a heat-wise a very formidable challenge,
Yeah.
but it's what I call, in the aftermath of it, what I call Haley's revenge. The cramps were legendary. The time you spent in a bathroom recovering was just something of legend that I don't wish on anybody.
I hope everybody says that about me.
You are a legend, Haley.
Thank
Now
you.
and forever. But I see some people here in the chat. They're wondering if these are going to still be made, or are you going to? Let's see what here. Is the HELLTART the only spicy Pop Tarts that they make? And is she thinking about trying to amp up the HELLTART again? From Dagger Watkins.
Maybe.
Maybe. Ooh. Mm-hmm. That is a Sundance 270 channel exclusive. You get a maybe from Haley on if HELLTART is going to make a return. I've thought about like reaching out and say, hey, could you make one more for me?
So I will tell you a secret, and I made a bunch of filling, and it's sitting in my freezer. In case, just in case someone was like, hey, can you make me one? And I'd be like, oh, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
But I still have it. And I'll have people come over and I'll be like, hey, you want to try my hell filling that you've never tried before?
Nice. That is one other thing, and you touched on it. You had a bunch of people who were like, because I know you don't eat spicy. You had people basically trying these things and reporting back to you their experiences. What were some of those? Like, did anybody have like horrific stories or funny little anecdotes that they shared with you?
I mean, I would have them sit in front of me and eat it, so I can watch. But I wanted to understand, like, I've never made deathly spicy food before. Right. So, a lot of the people in front of me would just be turning red and crying. I did have this one guy, and this was actually the guy that made me realize that I needed to get people to sign a contract. Mm-hmm. So I was catering for my normal catering for an event, and this couple that hired me, they loved me and I loved them, and they saw that I had a spicy tart coming out, and they were like, hey, can we try it? And I was like, you know what, I have some at the kitchen, let me go grab one. Right. I left, I came back, and as a fun little challenge, him and his friend split it and did it, and they're both like dying, and they're like, oh, this could be hotter, making fun of it. The other guy only took like a little bite, and they're like, right. Oh, we have another friend coming, we want him to try this. So their third guy friend shows up, and he eats it, and he was trying to act cool, so he ate the whole piece. I don't know, it was like a half of it. Right. And again, this is like the turning point for me, where I realized it was like, oh no, because he ate it, and he disappeared for a little while. He was laying down on the floor, he was sweating, right. He was crying, and he was in a lot of cramping. He was in a lot of pain, and his wife comes up to me, and she wasn't telling me it was my fault, but she was still kind of right. Like, what did you give him? What was in that? I can't believe, like, what is going on with my husband? Right. And so he's on the phone with his doctor, and his doctor was like, go to the hospital now. You are experiencing this, and this. Go to the hospital now. And his friends were like, we don't have ice cream for you. We only have dairy-free ice cream. And it was a mess. And so he was about to leave for the hospital. And that was my moment where I was like, we need contracts. And yes. He ended up recovering. They DoorDashed Tums, ice cream and something else, and he ended up being fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's everything that you described him going through is stuff myself, everybody in this community has been through. Sip Chomper, Chili Dean, all these folks that I run with, they will tell you, like, the cramps, especially when you've never had them before. If you've never had those, the way that capsaicin processes through your body, mm-hmm. It's a nightmare, the likes of which you've never known before. And you'll think, I need to call an ambulance. You'll be begging for God to end you and all sorts of things. It's just something.
And you guys enjoy this.
Yes, we do. That's the great part. We love doing it. This is just, we're masochists. We love the pain.
Great.
So, and that was just one of the things that I thought it was amazing about the HELLTART, because it was so deceptive how much capsaicin you could pack in there, because it was some of the roughest cramps I've ever had.
Thank you.
And that is again just one of those things that just made the HELLTART legendary. And if it ever makes a comeback, and if you're ever sending them out, I'm probably going to be first in line. Just putting that out there.
I
Um,
appreciate
so you run just rampant through all of our League of Fire community. You put people on the ground. People to this day still talk about how ruthless the HELLTART was.
it. Wow.
Uh, but like all good things, they must come to an end. And uh, you decided to eventually shut down Hardbitten. Could you kind of go into that a little bit, and how kind of just you ended your journey there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have spent over a decade working in the service industry as a cook. And it was relentless dedication, let me tell you, giving so much of my time and my efforts into the food that I've been producing even before Hardbin,
Mhm.
being a chef in Chicago. And, you know, all of this being a huge part of my career, but the pressure of running a thriving business like Hardbin took a significant toll on my physical health. Um, I didn't know how bad things had gotten until a few months before deciding to close. And um, I had came to the realization that self-care was no longer a luxury, but a necessity.
Mm.
So with a heavy heart, I made the tough decision to close it, allowing myself the time and the space to heal and recharge.
Right.
As I've been exploring so many new opportunities, um, I had someone suggest that my resume revealed a lack of commitment due to the too many spaces, a misguided assumption that only served as an underscore the importance of prioritizing my well-being, which is
Mhm.
really sad.
Yeah.
So very sad, but it was what was needed. And I'm glad that I was able to end it on a high note and on the note that I wanted to, and not when things were going really bad or things were going really well. I just wanted to say, well, things were going very well, but I just wanted to be able to call it. And
Right.
that's exactly what I did,
Yeah.
because it was mine. It was all mine. I could do whatever I wanted.
Right. And that's the way you should have done it. Because
Thanks.
that is something I think I wonder if like people at our community really took stock of, was the fact that you weren't just like a chef kind of doing your own thing where you're just making health tarts and maybe something a little bit here and there. No, you had this full scale business, and on top of all that, doing this health tart thing that did mean something to quite a few people because you wrecked us. So
Thank you.
I've always like wondered if people really took that into account and appreciated kind of like you were sacrificing and working hard and running this whole thing, and then adding that um, into what you were doing, and it becomes a part of our lives, our community. And I just would hope that people appreciate that a little bit more. And on behalf of myself and everyone else in the community who appreciated what you guys did, thank you so much for your hard work in ruining our nights repeatedly. It was definitely a pleasure and an honor, and we all wish you nothing but the best going forward,
Thank you.
and hope you had just an amazing time away and recharge and figure out what you're going to do next, because we only get one life, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so we've been going 23 minutes or so. Let me see if anybody's got any questions in chat real quick before we let Haley go. Let us know. Um, already about the purchaser still. I'm trying to remember. Matt from Casually Roasting had one. He's not able to make it to chat today. It was something to the effect of, I think he wanted to know if the one that he tried was the 2.0 or not. And somebody will have to quote me on this one. You're not going to remember, I don't think, but it was everybody told you make them hotter, and so you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first one that got sent to Matt, and his first HELLTART was a 2.0, because I had tried the previous 1.0s a time or two. So I think he might have been the first victim, and he's one of those who to this day will swear by the HELLTART aftermath. So I think that'll be about it.
I can say that the second that people came forward that it wasn't hot enough, I changed them instantly. Like, it wasn't like, oh, let me send out these orders and then
Right.
fix it. It was more of like, oh, you guys want it hotter? Okay. And it was like within a day where I
Right.
was like, let's make this hotter.
Okay.
So if he says he got it, then I believe him,
Yeah.
unless it was like in between that time where let's make them hotter and like he already ordered one and then
Right. And that's what I'm trying to think of. And it's also like you might have like sent out several, I don't know, for the 2.0, and then somebody else had already done it, but never made it to video, and I didn't know about it because we're a small community. We stay on top of each other. I've been in it well over a year now, and I'm starting to lose track of videos. We're like, oh, I remember when so and so did this or so and so did that. Like, we're getting to do such a volume of challenges. I'm starting to forget things.
yeah.
Sip Chomper wants to know: did you ever think about different flavors, or was strawberry the first thought?
Strawberry. We already had like 15 flavors of our normal tarts, like that we sold in stores. I didn't want to make it harder on myself and be like, oh, let's do a strawberry one and a apple one. I do remember that I was starting to work on a chocolate one, an all chocolate one. But I wasn't super happy with it.
Right. It sounds amazing.
Because chocolate is just, it's so much different than like a fruit puree. So again, I didn't want to focus on like having all these varieties because then it gets more difficult for us because again, I wasn't just making Pop-Tarts. I was making 12 to 15 cakes a week plus catering and I'm a private chef. Like I don't have that time.
Right.
So maybe in the future, maybe if this starts up again, something like that, I'll do a chocolate one, but no, strawberry was my favorite.
Yep. And amazing flavor it was.
Hey,
well,
you don't like strawberry. You do not like fruit purees.
No, the texture of the jam. Listen, the flavor, the texture of the jam.
Fair enough.
If nobody in chat is familiar with the story, and most of you should be,
because I remember this.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
If there's anything I remember about you, it's this.
People are popping off in chat about they're posting little banana emojis because I'm averse to certain textures of fruits. Okay. Real quick, if you guys don't know, I was in a foster care facility as a child. I know, cry me a river. But this little kid across the table from me, I used to eat everything: strawberries, grapes, fruits, whatever. I'm 9 years old. This kid across from me is chewing on his grape. He spits it out on the table. And so there's this mangled little grape corpse thing just staring at me in this puddle of spit. And I'm like, just more. I've never been able to eat fruit ever since. And so certain textures and fruits just did me in. And you can, like normal Pop-Tarts, and actually I'll get into a side question before we let you go. Normal Pop-Tarts don't have much jam, but it's like mostly bread. And so I could do like a normal Pop-Tart. But the HELLTART was so jam-filled, so jam-packed full of all of that. It gave me trouble getting those things down sometimes. I will give you that much. And it was a fight. And that HELLTART is my one and only official nemesis. I've had trouble with other challenges before, but that HELLTART is my official nemesis. Real quick, did you get a cease and desist from Kellogg's or whoever? You get, they wanted you to stop making tarts because they were afraid.
No, I could still make them. I just couldn't use the word pop.
Oh, okay. Very good.
That was all. So anything that said pop, like on my website, like, Pop-Tarts, I couldn't use the word pop. I could use tart. I could still make everything. But I was actually looking forward to getting one because that means I made it. So
yes, you made it.
For them to notice me, I mean, that's great.
Exactly. Cease and desist. There you go. That's how you know you made it. I am not telling the reverse boot story, Charlie. We're going to let her go. Haley, thank you so much for your time. It was an honor having you, and I look forward to whatever it is that you're going to do in the future. And if there's anything you would like to leave the audience with, I'll leave you with that, or we'll just hit end stream right now and all that happy jazz.
Well, thank you for having me, and thanks for letting me be a part of your community. I didn't know that you guys were out there, and it was really cool to learn about you and to see all of these crazy things that you guys enjoy doing on your free time. I could never. So I give you a lot of credit.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. Thank you. And thank you for being part of our journey and our story. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream. This is Sundance 270 and Haley Raff signing out. In stream. There we go.